true or false? Easter is the Super Bowl for Christians.
Are you planning your whole service around a creative element? Because if you're doing that, I might suggest that you've got it backwards.
If you would have asked me before, like a few years ago, I would have said, yeah, we need to put all of our energy because of all those reasons.
I would argue that on Easter, the most important part is the sermon.
If you give them like smoke and lasers, like, well, you're actually not presenting yourself well. You're trying to be shiny.
What has to happen for us to go, that was a good season? Or that was effective.
So we're talking about Creasters.
Creasters.
Creasters. Talking about Easter.
We're talking about Easter. I mean, I guess Christmas kind of can fall into this, but like
Easter's the big one.
As of recording right now, Easter is like
It's coming.
4 weeks away, 3 weeks
Christmas
away.
is the Pro Bowl.
Christmas is the Pro. No, the
It's
Pro
bigger than
Bowl. When's the last time we watched a Pro Bowl?
When was the last time I watched organized sports?
Big sports guy.
F1 Drive to
Big
Survive on
sports guy.
Netflix?
No, that don't count.
Okay,
No.
then
Car guys
it's
are
been
different.
a while.
Car guys, I don't know that I could put car guys in the conversation with sports guys. Like those are just two different subsets
Two
of
different
people.
things.
F1's not a sport. Hot take.
Oh, dude.
It isn't. I mean, it's not a sport.
You're going to make a lot of rich people really mad.
In most of Europe, actually.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not a competition, but it's like it's a race.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right?
They get sweaty.
They get sweat. That's
There's
because they wear
There's no air conditioning.
18,000 pounds of.
They got no
F1
AC.
cars. There's
They got no
in
AC.
F1 cars.
They got big old seat belts, big old helmet.
It's just hot.
They wear like turtlenecks underneath everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Flameproof.
whatever. All right, Easter.
Easter.
He's talking about Easter.
Easter's coming.
It's coming. It's coming fast.
All right. What are we doing this year for Easter?
Do we say? It's not like it's a secret.
The veil.
The veil.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Jesus. We're doing Jesus.
Yeah.
Talking about Jesus. Doing a couple things.
True.
You know, he died and he came back from the dead.
Yeah.
That's where we should start.
Taking a little different approach.
A little bit.
If you think about like Easter, like
Yeah.
Okay.
iconography of Easter, tomb, cross.
Yep.
I would put veil as like not up with those two as much as people
Subset.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Decided to go, lean into the veil more this year, which I
is
think
different.
is sweet.
They're
Yeah.
really cool. We have some really cool assets and like content coming from that.
Yeah.
Do we
Pretty
call
high.
it content? A bumper
it's all-
video? Would
it's
we
all
call a
content.
bumper
I don't
video
know.
a content? Like piece of
I
content?
think it's assets.
Assets?
That's a
Assets.
better word.
Collateral.
That just
Actually,
that-
collateral refers to I think like printed materials.
Yeah.
Okay, true or false? Easter is the Super Bowl for Christians. Sorry, Easter is the Super Bowl for pastors in churches.
Culturally or
No, what
Biblically.
we feel.
What we feel? Yeah.
How do you feel?
theologically?
I don't know. You can answer for the public. You can answer for yourself. You tell me.
I don't know.
True or false? Like, is it? People say that.
Yeah.
People say that like
Yeah.
Easter is the Super Bowl. I would say probably even more than Christmas. So like, is that true? And if it is or isn't, why or why not?
before I met Anton, I would have said yes. 100%.
All right.
Anton just changes everything.
Did I just change the purpose?
How is he
Did I
so
just change
important?
Easter?
you just changed the way that.
Holy smokes.
I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
Because we were in a meeting, and we in the last year have been talking about our social media presence
Yep.
being genuine,
Yeah.
Yep. Authentic.
wanting the person that's viewing our social media, our online presence, to mimic what they're gonna feel like in person, or what they're gonna see, feel, hear, experience
yeah.
in person. Obviously, you can only go so far with that, but like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's like the main attempt of our social media strategy, or a main attempt.
Yeah. At its, I would say at its core, you can go to our social platforms and get an idea of who we are as a church.
Yeah.
Not just Sunday morning, like what you'll experience on a Sunday morning, but like what we value.
Yeah. What we're about.
What we're about, because social media, and I would even argue social media before website, is the
Oh,
new
yeah.
front door for churches.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'd say it's probably a correct assumption or correct thought process.
So we were stewing over this for the last year. I don't remember when the meeting was, but you had talked about, well, I don't want to like plan our Easter services to be kind of like a Texas switch for next Sunday for all these people.
Right.
Real quick, what's a Texas switch?
Texas Switch, cinematography.
Yeah.
It's when a stunt actor is doing a stunt,
Yep.
gets out of frame, and then the main actor reappears.
Hops in.
So it looks like, so it's one take. It's not
Dang.
like a, I don't think they do that too often. Actually, they do it in Now You See Me 3.
Never seen the
Oh,
third
yeah.
one.
Yeah, yeah,
Me
yeah.
either. I just saw the clip of it.
Noah's search history on YouTube is just Texas switches.
Yeah. Big Texas Switch guy.
Okay, anyway, sorry. Easter, Texas switch, not being it.
I think we talked about attractional church models, which are not wrong. I think that it's a really slippery slope when you are kind of broadcasting yourself as that. Easter is the Super Bowl. It's your highest attenders. It's Holy Week, everything leading up to it. Spring, like
Yeah.
culturally, it's just like the big Sunday
Yeah.
or Saturday
Yeah.
or Thursday and Friday for some churches. And I would, if you would have asked me before, like a few years ago, I would have said, yeah, we need to put all of our energy because of all those reasons.
Right.
I would say now we need to put all of our energy in it. Because it's the greatest opportunity for us to show these new people, Creasters, like who we are.
Yeah.
And you don't do that by putting on all your haze machines, buying all these new lights, putting the choir up for one time a year.
Yeah.
Like all these bells and whistles that I think churches feel like they have to do because they're competing,
Right.
because it's all about numbers. It's not all about numbers.
Yeah. Well,
People feel like it's all about numbers, and you need to be the flashiest, shiniest church on Sunday, and you need to promote that. That's because it only happens once a year.
yeah.
People aren't going to 2 services on Sunday, so you're like bidding for seats basically. And yeah, basically you in the meeting were like, I don't want to, like, I want to be genuine on Sunday. So like we can do more things, but not in excess. I don't know if you remember that. I'm
Yeah.
not doing a very good job at, I think.
I
what you said.
recall. I don't remember which meeting exactly. I think the sentiment is like, how do you present yourself to your community or to the people that are like coming to church on Easter? Because we know like they feel the need to be there. Maybe they don't know why, but they're like, I gotta go to church. It's Easter, and so if you give them like smoking lasers,
Yeah.
like, well, you're actually not presenting yourself well.
Right.
You're trying to be shiny and flashy. Well, that might get them back, but then like the next Sunday they attend, it's just like you at the piano because your team's burned out.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. Yeah.
that's
dude.
that's whiplash.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So to answer your question, I think Easter is the Super Bowl. But we should go about it maybe differently than you might expect. So yeah, there's 30 or 40% more people in your church on that day. But that's 30 to 40% more people that are going to have the opportunity to hear what your church is about, what the vision of your church is about, but also really the only thing that matters, they're going to hear the gospel, maybe for the first time that year.
Yeah.
And so how are we creatively presenting it to them in a way that is true to who we are as a church, extra hyper clear just as a body of believers or as pastors. But then, yeah, maybe there's some like creative elements that kind of drive home that point. So I would say true, it's the Super Bowl, but it isn't pull out all of the stops. It's pull out the ones that you know are really effective and are really going to matter and are really going to highlight the gospel.
Interesting. Yeah, I think the authenticity part is the big part for me of like, yeah, it's kind of a nuanced question, right? Because it's like, is it the Super Bowl? Well,
Yes and no.
yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes, because what's true about the Super Bowl? It's the most watched NFL game in the entire year. What's true about Easter? It's the most attended weekend of the entire year for most churches. It's interesting because I think as like a creative, because you know when we started talking about Easter, and we can get into like how we plan Easter and how far in advance and blah blah blah. But like when I think about planning Easter, I feel like we do, at least in my experience of our team, in the last, this will be my second Easter together. I do feel like we try to think of like different elements because of just because it's Easter. Not that makes us inauthentic at all. I think it's still true to who we are. But I do think that like efficiency, not what's the word I'm looking for? Not efficiency,
Like effectiveness.
effectiveness.
Yeah.
Because how do you measure that? Like that's where my head goes. It's like how do you measure your effectiveness on Easter? Is it how many people like? We could talk about church Easter as a whole, but like in the realm of like as creatives,
Right.
and as because this Easter is a weekend experience, how do we measure like the effectiveness of that?
I don't know. Because you can't
yeah.
do attendance day of. You can't do attendance the next week.
Right.
I maybe you could ask people 3 months after Easter, or maybe they fill out a Connect card and they're like,
Sure.
"Hey, we came for Easter. We're still here. We're looking to sign up for some classes. I want to serve on the production team.
Right.
Been coming since Easter. Da 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 da." What are you asking about effectiveness? Actually, maybe
I
should
don't
clarify
know
that.
because I maybe it's not actually like again within the realm of what we work on. I think an evaluation, after Easter, this is actually probably something we don't do well, is evaluating, just because it's 3-man team, 2-man team, like you guys from a campus level, you guys evaluate
Yeah.
certain weekends or holidays, but as like a creative team, as like a arts team, even a communications team, we don't. We're in such drive mode that like
Yeah.
we were done talking about Easter a month ago.
Yeah.
Now we're kind of executing on it, but like
Yeah.
if effectiveness, I think of effectiveness from a creative aspect is maybe not like, it wouldn't be the same measurement that we would have if we were sitting around as a full church team saying, okay, was Easter effective?
Yeah. I
Because
agree.
ultimately Easter is effective when the gospel is preached and
people are led to Jesus.
people are led to Jesus. Like that's true effectiveness in church. I would in simplest terms possible. But from like a creative aspect, I think of like the weekend experience of Easter. Now we can talk about Holy Week and all that stuff, and that's just different ball games. But I think of like, how does a full service like how does every element of the service play together in a way that like at the end of the weekend we go, okay, that was a really good Easter service.
Yeah, I think our team is small, so there's pros and cons.
Sure.
Pro is we touch all, or not all departments, but like most of the like outputting departments. Creatively, we already said that everybody should be creative, but like when you're talking about like visual arts, so like when we talk about Easter, we're having in-service element questions, collateral elements, videos, promo, marketing, look, feel, brand, whatever. All of those discussions are all kind of happening at once. And so I think you have an idea of if it's going to be successful or not, because you're building all of this together. So like, 2 months ago or 3 months ago when we were like, okay, we definitely know what we're doing for Easter. I think we're all like, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
You don't know until Sunday at 4 p.m. when you finally finish and you're like, did it hit or did it not?
Right.
Right.
Planning ahead, we were a little bit late on the Easter video element this year, but like
Just a touch.
it gives you. Well, we can talk about Christmas. We filmed Christmas really far ahead.
Yep.
And so we knew at that point we're like, oh, this is good. Let's just hope it, translates into you know, 7 campuses.
Right.
Which from then on, we did a new thing. We did a what did we do? A shopping
For
list.
Christmas.
Shopping list for
Oh.
campuses.
Yeah.
Our Christmas series last year was called Throwback Christmas, and it was nostalgic.
Yeah.
Grandma's basement, opening presents, wood panel
Wood panels.
walls.
Wood
Tinsel.
panels. All the wood panels and tinsel.
I didn't even buy any tinsel.
You just had it,
Totally.
or
No, we missed it.
no tinsel?
No tinsel.
That's all right.
That's
Next year.
fine.
Tinsel.
Still,
This
still
year.
good.
We'll do another throwback one.
No, they had at his campus. They had the original set. That's
Oh,
what it
yeah,
was.
that's right.
The big
Remember we had it on
TV, the
stage?
old
One
TV.
take, by the way.
One
did that
take.
video in one take.
We did that. We'll put that somewhere on our YouTube channel
Yeah.
somewhere so you can see it because
Yeah.
it was one take.
But like I don't even remember what I was saying.
Well, I just think the effectiveness of like from a church creative perspective, what is effective? What does an effective Easter experience look like? What elements has to be in play? What things have to happen for us to sit at the end of an Easter season? You know,
Yeah.
If
Why
you're
was
the
the
that
week after
successful?
Easter,
Yeah.
what has to go well, or what has to happen for us to go that from our perspective, our angle on our involvement on Easter morning, what has to happen for us to go, that was a good season?
If you're
Or
the
that
person-
that was effective.
If you're the person or team leading out on the creative direction, could be a big team, could be a one man or woman show.
Right.
The worship pastor that kind of has to do all of it because they're at a smaller church. You have like execution success. So like,
Yep.
did your plan from A to Z go the way that you had planned it?
Right.
You could evaluate like, okay, the plan went according to plan or whatever. We did this, and this, like we said, this here. Then there's like the experiential success. Like, did that visual not land with our congregation?
Yeah.
Like, did it go over their heads? Was it too one way or the other? And then you can evaluate it that way. Like, okay, sometimes, unfortunately, okay, the whole creative direction, we were off,
Yeah.
which is something to think about next
Have you
year.
ever experienced that? Have either of you ever experienced that where like you got to the end of something? Maybe it wasn't Easter, but maybe it was like some sort of creative direction for something, and it just was like that didn't hit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
Do you
the
care to
worst.
share?
Every other sermon series. But the bonus of like having a team to I'm always asking Tyler Anton, hey, check this out.
Yep.
Like in the
Yeah.
office, like, hey, come look at this.
Yeah.
Second
And
set
I'll
of
try
eyes.
and not say anything. Be like, just tell me what you think.
Yeah.
And you guys are like, oh, that's cool, or it's cool. I don't get it. And then that tells me, okay, they weren't in this process yet. Maybe they didn't read the series map yet.
Yeah.
So they have no like, because
What's a series map for context?
series map are documents that our teaching team writes every series. It's kind of an outline for however many weeks the series is. There's like a big idea, some core scriptures mostly, the weekly topics, and then the breakdown of each weekly topic.
So like overview, basically for a series.
Yeah.
And then
If you're-
overview
yeah.
of further in look per week. type of
Yeah.
Basically.
If you're a church that leans into series design, I know churches, I
Some
think
do, some
nowadays,
don't.
don't. They're really helpful from like for a creative person that wants to put out product that's accurate to what is being talked about on stage. Those things are
Yeah.
lifesavers. But yeah, like having you guys kind of check on something, be like, hey, what are you feeling like this?
Yeah.
And also like people different walks of life. Like you're an artist. Your artistic feedback, I weigh a little bit heavier because you are in that world. But how many artists are out sitting in the seats?
Right.
We talked about it a little bit last
Right.
time, like, oh, that animation's cool. Great. That doesn't matter. Like, I'm glad you should, like, strive to do that and make, like,
Right.
cool things for God. But, like, I want to know, am I missing theologically,
Right.
like, what we're going to be talking about?
Yeah.
Which sucks for people that are operating in a bubble,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But I would say, like, go ask people. Ask the parking team. Ask the kids pastor. Because their feedback is valuable.
Yeah.
Even if they're not an artist or a creative.
Ask
like,
people who aren't in ministry. I've got
yeah.
I've got guys who, I got my a buddy of mine who's really big into video. He serves at his church, but like he's never worked in the church world, and so from a video perspective, I always send stuff to him of like, hey, what are your thoughts? And he'll always give me feedback on like the video technical parts of it, or like my biggest critic, which is a good thing. But the person I almost value, I would say probably I value feedback the most is actually my wife.
Yeah.
Because she's not an artist. She is like when we talk about like target audience for like our church, which that makes people feel a certain way. I get it. But like she is it. And so like I can show something to her and I know right away from her reaction of like, oh, that hit, or oh, that didn't hit at all.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
Christmas video we did, she's like, oh, that was fun. I understood what was happening. The Easter one I showed her, and which was like a proof of concept, wasn't a fully done thing, and she was like,
All right.
what am I watching? And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that gives me good enough feedback of like I need to tweak some
Yeah.
things here.
Yeah.
What am I watching? What's
What's that?
Is this done? Are you
Is
done
it
yet?
do-
Is this final? Final.ps3?
Wait, you're showing it to me again? Yes, because I want a different reaction.
Okay, that's actually a great. We can talk about demographic just for a second
Yep.
because we had women's conference coming up. We had 2 people in that demographic,
Yep.
your wife and your wife. I had 3 concepts, and the perceptions were vastly different on like, hey, which one do you like? Which one speaks to you more, or whatever. That is going to happen. If you're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
go into Easter thinking everybody's going to be super into your torn drop cloth hanging on the stage and
Hey,
like
man, veil.
immediately get,
Veil.
oh, well, it's frayed because like his body was broken and like we didn't want it to be royal purple because like like
Right.
you can't operate in that like mindset because you're you are gonna miss.
Yeah.
You're gonna miss people and you're gonna mess up.
Yeah. Because what are you gonna say? What are you kidding me? You didn't get that?
Yeah.
It was so clear. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Of course, it's clear.
That's what I tell my wife though.
You've been working out for 6 months.
It doesn't
Yeah.
go well.
Of course, it makes sense.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
I think that's interesting. Like for Easter, I mean, I know we're covering a bunch of different things about Easter, because I do think it's interesting to define what is actually. Well, let's land there. What would you guys say is? We get done, Easter's done. We got 4 weeks until Easter. The week after Easter, we're sitting down and we're evaluating from a creative team's perspective. What has to happen for us to say that was a win creatively?
Yeah.
Because we can say like, oh man, we had so many baptisms and this and that, and it's like,
That's awesome.
yes, our creative elements do play a role in that, but that is not just what we do. But the things that we just do have our hands on, whether it's worship, whether it's a video element, whether it's the creative overall look, like what has to happen for us to go, yeah, that was good. Like that we did our jobs well this Easter.
Yeah. I mean, easy takeaways. The objective ones. So this is not
Yep.
going to immediately answer the question. Objective ones. Did we deliver it on time?
Yeah.
Was the service planned on time?
Yep.
Were
That's
the tracks
great.
done on time? Any
Yeah.
custom stuff? Like, so there's the
Yeah.
objective deliverables.
Yeah.
I think we're in the green right now. We're doing all right. So that's a success on the
Yeah.
objective end, or like the tactile stuff, assets. On the like reviewing the service end, for me, as like the service planner, worship guy,
A guy that is a campus staffer
right?
that also has hours allotted for Central.
Sure.
So you're like both hats.
Yeah. Like the boots on the ground. Was my team prepared? Did we present the gospel clearly? And then I think maybe the takeaway is, did any of our creative elements get in the way? And this is where like in the past we used to do a lot of like timed video. What do we call those?
It's hard soft sync.
Soft sync videos.
Yeah.
So like a lot of churches do like like you start in the tomb, right? So the lights are off, the video's playing, the band's underscoring, time sync with the video. Like there's a lot of creativity there.
Mm-hmm.
But then you add the technical aspect of like, oh man, we're a beat off, and like the sync with the lyric part of it is off by a word or two.
Can't fix
And
that.
now it's taken away from people's experience. But But what if we just played some random video and just underscored? We just didn't do the soft sync part of it. Would that be more effective? Because I could argue then, like the soft sync video, though it was highly creative and it took us a lot of time to prepare, it took away from people's experience.
Yeah. Also, it's like behind the scenes.
It's all behind the scenes. So like people
It's
don't
smoke
know.
and mirrors.
People don't know.
The element of like a soft sync video and the second thing that you described,
Yeah.
it's the same effect.
Yeah, it's the same outcome.
So, right. So like
yeah,
if you have a band that can do it and rehearsal went really good,
right.
cool.
Because when it hits, if you get
Yeah.
it right, it can land really,
Yeah,
really,
for
really
sure.
well. And that just sets up your service. The people know why they're there. Maybe it's like you hear the tomb rolling sound effect or whatever. And like, people know why they're there.
Yeah.
But if it's off a little bit, or like that one light just is strobing for no reason because like you forgot to reset it before, right? So if there's
Right.
production elements that are failing or you're off a beat or whatever, that can start to take away. So I think for the church that's listening, you think Easter Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Where I would ask the question, how do those like elevated creative elements serve the service? Or are you planning your whole service around a creative element? Because if you're doing that, I might suggest that you've got it backwards.
Yeah.
Going back to like, it's a Super Bowl. You've got 30 to 40% more people than normal. Those are pastor statistics. I actually don't know if that's true. Probably pretty close though.
Pastor math.
Pastor
Math is good math.
Like,
Just kidding.
yeah, how are your creative elements? How are they serving your service, and how are they meeting people that are walking in?
Yeah. So that brings up an interesting point because maybe we could talk a little bit about like what is our process for coming up with creative elements, because you're right, we don't, though it is sometimes hard as a church creative to like admit to it, our thing, especially on Easter, is not the most important thing of what's happening.
Yeah.
The creative look is not the most important thing that's happening. Our bumper video that we spent 6 days working on is not the most important thing.
Yeah. No, but I think that is like the rhetoric in Christian America right now. Like, I think if you ask creatives, they'd be like, hey, do you feel pressure at your job to make your Easter creative thing the most important thing? And I think they would say, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that is just a church culture thing, or do you think that is maybe that's a lead pastor thing? Like I mean, I think we could say from our church, like we don't feel that pressure. I don't think from our lead pastor, from like we call it our ops team. Like where do you think that pressure? Maybe it's self-imposed. Like where do you think that pressure comes from?
I think it's just a Super Bowl thing. Like, this is the Super Bowl, so it has to be flashy.
Sure.
Yeah.
And if that's it's the first thing, if that's the first thing you're talking about in meetings, hey, let's talk about Easter.
Yeah.
What's it going to look like?
Yeah.
You already missed it,
Yeah.
I think. Which, like the teaching team, that's all done before creative gets involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so that's where I was going. So let's talk about our process a little bit, because I do think it's not perfect, but I do think it's effective. I think we have it right, which might sound like facetious to say, but like I think we have the priorities right.
Yeah, we might not do it right
We
every
might not
time.
do it
Yeah.
right every time,
Yeah.
but I think our priorities are in line well.
Yeah.
And so talk a little bit about our process of like, what is our process when it comes for Easter? What's our process? Like, what's the first thing that has to be done for us on our team?
When did we first talk about Easter? Was it a creative meeting?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. So that was like our lead pastor came in and said, "Here's what I'm thinking." The rough outline. Had a couple like key scriptures, which kind of like I think that influenced the veil idea, and then you came up with a pitch essentially
Yeah.
based out of that.
But before that, teaching team had to have met before then.
I think they had they
I
didn't
think
have
it
a
was,
map.
like,
They had like a rough
yeah,
outline.
It was like, I think it was in sync. Like our lead pastor was going, because okay, so context, we have a lead pastor, but we also have a teaching team that rotates between our campuses. And we have 4 teaching pastors.
Yes.
Yes, 4 teaching pastors that rotate, and then we have like other
5 now.
5 now, correct?
Yeah.
Because Robbie's on staff. So I think that was in like sync this year, where like
It
our
was
lead
2
pastor
parallel
came
things.
in. Yeah, it was like, hey, here's what I'm bringing to the teaching team. I'm pretty confident this is the direction we're going to go. Now let's start thinking creatively from
Yeah.
that. So we always start with
Yeah.
the teaching, because I would argue that on Easter, the most important part is the sermon. Maybe hot take, maybe not.
I think it has to be. Well, the most important thing is like the gospel.
The gospel.
We just always do like churches in America, 3 up top, transition,
Right.
teaching,
Yeah.
2 at the back, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
but,
Maybe
like-
maybe the most important isn't the right way to say it, but like, if there was one thing on an Easter morning, is that the gospel is proclaimed,
Right,
and
which
that
is our
people are
message
invited in,
time.
which
Yeah.
is our
Yeah.
sermon time.
Yeah, if you think of
Yes.
it like a narrative arc.
Yep,
So we'll probably talk about like service planning at some point, like how that
for sure.
plays into creativity. But like in our context, we use kind of like a framework thing where certain songs go in certain positions in the service, and like the apex of the narrative is teaching.
Right.
Teaching, and then we call it next step. So like
Yeah.
baptism, communion, prayer. Like, what is your next step? That's kind of like where we land
Yeah.
all of our services. And so on Easter, it is like the only thing you're going to hear out of our teaching pastors is a gospel presentation.
Right.
And then the response to that is some sort of next step. And so creatively, how are we influencing the narrative?
And supporting
Creatively
that.
and
Yeah.
supporting, knowing
Yeah.
that our teaching pastors are going to preach the gospel.
Right.
And making it super clear. One of my mentors back in the day, he would describe it like for service planning or special events or whatever, like you have this thing, like a box, and it's the gospel. This is like the gospel is in the box. I'm going to give it to you. You can, if you so desire, wrap it up in a nice bow and give it to somebody as like a present. Like that's cool. We could do that. But then you have to ask, well, wasn't the gospel on its own the most beautiful and awesome thing you've ever like why did I need to wrap it in a bow?
Right.
And our services can kind of start to feel that way. Like if I have the gospel, I'm going to give it to 200 people in my congregation, or 1,000 people, or 10,000 people. Why did I feel the need to like wrap it in a bow and give you smoke and lasers and give you why did I feel the need to do that
Yeah.
as a service planner? Because the gospel on its own is really, really, it's beautiful. It's everything.
Yeah.
It's the whole reason we're here. So I guess, I don't know, my question to the church creative person is, are you wrapping the gospel up in a bow, trying to make it attractional or prettier than it is? I mean,
Right.
it's amazing.
Right.
Or are you trying to like deliver the gospel in all of its glory to people in a really clear way, and you're using creative elements to highlight how awesome the gospel already is? So the difference between
That's a tough distinction.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's a tough distinction of like, is this elevating the gospel or is it wrapping it up? Like if you just think about it between those two, like, are you lifting the gospel?
It's detraction. Are you detracting? Are you taking away the like glory of it? You're not taking away the glory of it, but you can be swaying the mind of
Yeah.
the people that you're
Yeah.
kind of presenting it to.
or covering up its meaning.
Yeah.
It's like authenticity. If this is what we're talking about, you might be
Yeah.
covering it up with some of your creative elements, or your creative elements might be like highlighting how beautiful it already is.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
I also agree with this quote that I'm about to say, but I think it's a little bit in contentions.
That's good.
I think it's Martin Luther talking about excellence. It's like the Christian cobbler doesn't show excellence because he puts crosses on the buckles. He shows excellence by making like really good shoes.
Right.
Direct quote.
Yeah, for
Probably-
sure.
he probably said it
Word
like
for
Like
word,
making like
nailed
really
it.
good shoes. That's what you said.
Yeah, like making really good shoes. Because that is true.
Yeah.
Like you can want to make a really good service, and you can want to present the gospel in the best way that you, your team, whoever is involved, sees fit. It's just you have to know when it's like too much.
Yeah.
And I think that line is probably a lot thinner than
Yeah.
a lot of people think. Roller coaster on stage. Maybe
Airplane above.
airplane above
Yeah.
on stage. Maybe that's not the best use of
Maybe.
maybe, but maybe
But
it
maybe
is.
not. I don't know. That's for you to decide.
The reality, the reality is that line too. Nobody's ever going to agree on.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe that is it. Like, the line for us here might be different
It's
than the
different,
line at your
yeah.
church. Like,
Yeah.
the reality is you have to know. Because in my head, I'm like, okay, like as you guys are talking about it, I'm thinking like, okay, how would I answer that question of like how I don't even know how to answer the question. But the reality is like the answer to that question of like where is that line or like what is the difference between the two things? It's gonna look different based on your congregation.
Yeah.
Like if you've got you're a church of 150 people in the middle of rural Kansas or wherever you're at. No offense to the people in Kansas.
Shout out
Like
Kansas.
that's gonna look different than a church of 600 people in the city of Detroit. Like,
Right.
it's just gonna look different because people have different experiences. They have different reactions to the church. Now, what's interesting in the context of Easter is how much do you take into effect what people are expecting when they walk in,
Yeah.
especially the people that aren't there. Like, because you have on Easter, you have two different groups of people. You have the people you have your regular attenders that are going to be there no matter what. And then you have the people that are only there that weekend. And your hope is that they come back.
Yeah.
Your goal is that they come back. But the reality is they won't all. So they're coming in and having an experience. They're coming in and having an expectation. How much of that expectation that they have comes into effect of like creative decisions?
I got a Slack yesterday. This is like a practical application, I think. I got a Slack yesterday. One of the campuses asked, hey, is it okay if on Easter during our Next Steps time, we put a light on the cross in our, like on stage or in the sanctuary? I didn't even know they had a cross in there. And I was like, okay, is the question, like the question that they're asking is it appropriate to potentially shift focus from the veil, which is the one set design that we're doing this Easter, over to the cross? And I'm like, okay, if Next Steps is about people from all walks of life, in different journeys in their faith, is it okay for them to have their focus shift from the barrier between you and God, like being broken? That's what the veil's representing, or the cross, which is the debt that Jesus paid for you.
Mm-hmm.
So my answer was, yeah, that's fine. My artist mind was like, but we're not doing tombs and crosses this Easter.
Right.
That was like,
Right.
we were doubling down on the veil.
Yeah.
But maybe it's appropriate for that. I think this campus specifically, they have a little bit more of an older audience. And so like if there wasn't
Sure.
a cross on Easter,
Yeah.
here you go.
You give
If
me
there
no.
wasn't a cross on Easter, that would have detracted from the experience.
Sure.
So it's not even like you were talking about, like, don't get in the way. It's not always excessive stuff that can do that. It could be little things. It could be, I mean, the one I'm talking about is like a tonal shift or whatever, but like it could be something little that is like, well, it wasn't a big deal. Like
Yeah.
we just upped the strobe counter like during this moment. It's like,
Right.
well,
Yeah.
maybe 2 clicks, but that could really like hurt somebody.
Yeah, right.
I think it's like you got to know your audience, and by
Yeah.
audience I mean congregation. But like as a creative in general, whether you're in ministry or not, like you have to know your audience
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
best serve them.
You got to know the people that are going to observe what you're making.
And if you're a central employee, the campus staff is
Yeah.
gonna know that better than you.
For sure.
Right.
I think. I mean, even if you're attending, you're still not. If you're not in a pastoral role at that
Right.
church, like I don't think you're gonna have a most accurate heartbeat on the congregation than
Yeah.
your peers that are working at the campus level.
Yeah. So ultimately, like when it comes to Easter, I think that's a good like foundation. Is there are so many decisions of what you could do, and I think it is because there's this like innate pressure that it's Easter. There's more people involved. There's gonna be more people that attend. There's so many, you got this awkward tension of like it's the Super Bowl, but it's not, but it is. The best thing as a creative when it comes to making decisions of what elements you're going to do, what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, is ultimately knowing your people. Like, because I would say that, I don't know. Actually, this might be pastor math. I don't know how many church creatives are actually in a pastoral role. What do you guys think? Like, do you think that most church creatives are pastoral roles, or do you think they're not?
That's a good question. I mean, my first reaction is if they're not, they should be. Like,
good point.
Creative. So okay, I like have a lot of songwriter friends. I've done a lot of songwriting, but like one of them, he used to say, writing a good song sometimes is just saying timeless truths in a new way. Which isn't rewriting the Bible. Like
Right.
we're not changing the
Right.
words so that it fits our context. Well, we're not changing we're not changing scripture
Yeah.
because we want it to sound the way we want it to sound. Like, but you take the truths, the timeless truths of God's word, and you say it in a way that's new, or that's gonna like resonate with people in a different way than just reading from King James or whatever. But so maybe that's closer to like how we decide on creative elements.
Yeah.
How do we take the timeless truth of the veil being torn and his spirit being available to us at all times and dwelling in us? How do we say that in a way that's going to connect with our people? And they say it in a way that maybe they've never heard it said. Because that's only going to elevate the rest of the gospel story on Easter. So I don't remember what your original question was, but that's what I
Honestly,
think.
neither do I. I was so
I don't
entranced with
actually
what he was
either.
saying. I don't even remember my question.
But maybe
Like
that's
pastoral roles. Like it's
yeah.
just the idea of like I don't even think you need to be in a pastoral like spot to make this. Like I think a lot of times as creatives we want to make decisions because at least in my spot, I like to make creative decisions because I like to do creative things.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the most creative things is not what needs to be done for Easter.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Right.
Is like because
Yeah.
we know our people.
Let me wrap up what I said
Yeah.
with now that I remember your question. If you're gonna say something in a new way, or take timeless truth, present it in a way that's new or relevant, right? We talk about relevance. Your creatives are necessarily performing a pastoral duty. Like they have a responsibility to present the gospel, and that's what pastors do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe the pastoralness looks a little different. Like maybe you don't have a team that you're leading. You just like you guys are in the office a lot, but you interact with people.
Mm-hmm.
Where like the majority of my job is people. Like I
Right.
have a team. There's a line after church on Sunday that people want to come up and talk or pray or whatever. So like maybe our responsibilities look different, but I think the heart of our job is the same.
Yeah. You got to
Present-
communicate the
You gotta
gospel.
communicate the gospel.
Yeah.
And so whether it's like playing guitar and singing words that other people wrote or doing a veil torn video for Easter that's going to set up the teaching,
Mhm.
I think the heart of the job is the same. So yeah, no, your creatives, if they're not technically pastors,
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
they're performing they're doing the same thing as a pastor. They're presenting
Yeah.
the gospel.
Yeah.
And I might even suggest that the creative person, like the job's a little harder because you gotta think in ways that it's gonna resonate with people. That's not just the spoken word, or it's not just reading. Like you got to take God's word and then present it to them in a way that they're gonna hear it and they're gonna be inspired, or they're gonna be filled with awe or whatever. It's a tough job, and it's absolutely pastoral.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's wrap up this Easter conversation with this. It's a couple weeks out from Easter. let's be honest, not everybody has everything done early. We don't.
Yep.
Yeah.
If there's one thing to focus when it goes into planning, executing all things Easter, there's one thing that a church creative should focus on. What should it be? What do you think?
If your church is structured, like if you're taking direction from a teaching team or a lead pastor, it doesn't matter if you're multi-site or not. You have to know, like you have to catch the vision of the teacher. Like we said earlier, like you said, like teaching's priority. Because I think it is. I think we would all agree that. You have to make sure that you're on the same page. The worship leader, if you're the worship leader, you got to make sure you know, okay, this is what he's talking about. This is kind of the theme, the tone, da-da-da-da. This is how these are the songs that I'm choosing. If you're a graphic designer, if it's a more of a somber tone, well, I'm not going to make a super bright graphic with flowers and da-da-da-da. That's not appropriate.
Yeah.
If you're in production, like you got to know there's like tangible things. You have to know what the teacher is going to be communicating, not what, but like how they are. I think tone is really important. I think tone is actually it's probably the first question I ask the teachers. It is actually the first question I ask teachers of the lead pastor when they're like, hey, this is the series, da-da-da-da. Like I have to know, because we're starting to create everything like is a trickle down. You have to understand tone. And so for Easter, figure out the tone and then make sure whatever it is that you're creating is appropriate to match that tone. Like the whiplash thing.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy to do that. Music, graphics, video, all that. Like really try and make sure that everyone is on the same page. If you're a big team, make sure that everyone understands kind of what we're going for. If you're a single team, God bless. Make sure that you know what the teaching pastor is going to be talking about and ask for help.
Yeah.
People want to help.
Yeah,
For sure.
most of them.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like if you're the one man or woman show, like honestly, at least should be two.
Yeah.
And the other person is your lead pastor.
Yeah.
Because like we use an analogy around here that's like baton pass. So if we're coming out of a video, how am I getting my team on stage and into the first song? Like that transition is important because it creates the idea that like our entire service is one conversation.
Yeah.
And the theme of the conversation is Easter and resurrection and the gospel. And so knowing the tone, so like song to song, there's a baton pass from song number 3 to the generosity moment is a baton pass. Whoever is like hosting generosity has to know the tone of the song that came before them so that they can continue the conversation without the whiplash. And
The tone of the video.
And then the bump
After,
of video.
yeah.
Teaching pastor's got to pick up where it leaves off tone-wise. That's the baton pass. And I would say, at least in our service here, like the most critical one is going to be out of teaching into next steps.
Yeah.
So like if our pastor is fire and brimstone, maybe probably not, but like
Yeah.
maybe
But it could
excited,
happen. Yeah.
maybe like good, excited,
Passionate.
energetic, passionate.
Passionate.
I have to know that, or be ready to like communicate to my band on stage, like this is the underscore, this is the vibe we're going for.
Right.
It's going to lead into the next song. Or for the lead pastor to know the tone of the next song so that they can land the plane
Yeah.
and continue the continuity of the conversation. So like, if you're a few weeks out and you've got your songs picked, maybe you've got a video element, you know the teaching. I would now start to figure out how you're transitioning
Yeah.
all of us. Because for the first time attender or for the person that only comes a couple times a year, that's going to help them it's going to help them understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
The continuity of the conversation will be extra clear. And maybe they don't get it, but you can go home knowing the success was that we presented the gospel really, really clearly. If they got it, amen, I'll see you next week. And
Yeah.
if they missed it, like that's on them. Like you did a good job and you You honored the Lord in all of the details. You didn't over create something, like you made something that elevated the gospel and made it really clear. I think for me, we asked the question at the beginning. I think for me, if we've done that and we've thought about and prayed through and practiced all of the transitions, that's a success.
Yeah.
But if like the video totally flops and the soft sync didn't work, I probably won't do it next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's all in because those moments are where the distraction happens.
Yeah.
And people's attention gets pulled away, which is like a whole other thing we could talk about. We've talked about that attention and
Yeah.
how do you keep attention and whatnot. So work on the little things, work on it as a team. That's Easter.
Easter.
That's Super Bowl.
That's it.
So
Nice.
if you got Easter coming up, good luck.
Good luck. We'll pray for you.
Pray for
Pray
us.
for us.